Guys, deluded, I'm back again. Arsenal 2, Lazio nil in our penultimate game of pre-season, our last one before Manchester City. We cap it off with a win in Stockholm, Sweden. So yeah, going into the game, we know it's pre-season, and while you can't read too much into it, whether you win, lose or draw, you kind of need to it takes 10 or so more games or months to get fluidity in your play, or for a new coach or any coach to implement any tactics he wants to use throughout the whole season. So we can't draw conclusions, good or bad, from preseason. But if there's ever a time to kind of shape up, at least in the primary stage is better yet, of his tenure, it is now, to be honest with you. So yeah, the whole it's just preseason can't really watch. So at best, you're looking for our players to come out of this game not injured, in one piece. We're kind of shaping up how we want to play out, in possession and out of possession. Players are looking fit, and all of them other positive things there, and keeping the optimism at least till it gets turned down. So yeah, man. First 5 minutes, I'd say, were pretty cagey to say the least. To be honest with you, where's my other notes? I'm sure I had something else I wanted to say. No, it's not here, and it's irrelevant. But I'd say first 5 minutes, in my opinion, it was a bit cagey. Obviously, because there's not really much to play for, and you could tell players they want to get injured. I feel the tempo was quite lacking. Interesting to see Torreira and Xhaka, which I'll speak about in another vid. Very interesting the way they paired up. How you instantly saw Xhaka kind of playing deeper. Then you saw them both sit next to each other. And if I'm being harsh, I did like how we set up off the ball, especially with our pressing. But one thing I'd probably highlight is that in games where we're against City and they're better offensively than us, Torreira and Xhaka, if they both come deep, at times there's not really anyone. At times, even though we were playing out the back and them things, it looked like, especially in an attacking sense, someone that can make things happen on the ball can't be given the ball, in the sense that there was space for Ozil, but it's like there wasn't space. It's someone have to be brave, and 9 times out of 10, I don't think our players will play that pass. But first 5-10 minutes, however long, we're playing decent football. I felt Nelson was playing quite well, linking down the other right hand side. I felt Liechtenstein was decent today as well. I felt Maitland-Niles, although in the first half he showed on many occasions the man's not a fullback. Just because I am a fullback, again, not as successful as him because he's played professional football, but there was a chance I was screaming at the TV, well, the laptop, to get tight, don't let the cross in. He's not a natural fullback, so he's not going to do these things naturally. At times, probably losing his run, especially when your eyes are on the ball and your back's facing an opponent, losing your runner, and they were getting a run and holding. But other than that, I was proud with how he was linking up forward. Him and Iwobi looked quite dangerous down the left-hand side in the opening stages. You saw them create many chances. If I'm harsh, apart Lazio didn't really create anything. One thing I will say is the ball over the top, when they did do it, killed us. Something we probably have to address throughout the whole game, in my opinion. And at times, on another day, a lot of the opportunities throughout the whole game actually that they created were very clear cut, arguably more clear cut than the two we actually scored. On another day, it might happen for them and go against us. So if I'm being harsh, these are the holes I'm poking. In regards to our formation, of course, you're seeing if it looked like a 4-3-3 at times. It looked like two up front. It looked like a 4-2-2 in the second half and things like that. But first half, I felt we could have created a bit more and upped it a bit more. I liked how we were pressing to a degree, and we deserved our goal, to be honest. It was a lovely bit of play with Nelson and the lads. Obviously, I can't remember who took the shot, but either way, the keeper parries it or something, and Nelson's there to follow through. It's now 1-0 at this point. We did make a couple chances that we should have taken advantage of, but if I'm honest, I did think we could have done a bit more. Just on the way of how we are setting up, especially the attackers. Obviously, if it's 4 defenders or so, let's just focus on the midfielders, the 2 strikers, and obviously this is the opposition. What I found interesting, people, is that Lacazette and Eddie Nketiah in the first half, they were pressing together at times. At times they were pressing, and you definitely saw 2 banks of 4, in the sense that 4 midfielders, 4 defenders, and 2 up front. But at times, particularly Lacazette, you were seeing Lacazette station like this, picking up holes. Now, you remember Steve Bowles said Lacazette can play a 10 role. Now, obviously, that's not true. What that means is that we know Lacazette's strengths are coming short, getting involved in the play and things like that. And Eddie gets to learn a lot, having people put elbows in his back and things like that. But if I'm harsh, did want to see them work together a bit more splitting, a bit more coordinating, a bit more coordinating, both dropping at the same time, both going long at the same time, just a bit more sort of things like that, like you saw when Lacazette and Aubameyang were together, how different it was. But yeah, primarily that's kind of what I saw, to be fair with you. But yeah, Second half, we upped the ante. I do believe the tempo went up a bit. With Daisy was stringing passes. Ozil came on. I felt Mkhitaryan was lively when he came on. Again, Liechtenstein and Maitland-Niles on either side. That fullback were doing all right, and we deserved our goal. It's a scruffy goal. It's good determination from El Nene. He's got a point to prove in the starting lineup. Eventually, it falls to Aubameyang, and he keeps a bit of composure and slots it in. To be fair, and does his thing. So yeah. Obviously, again, in the second half, we saw the formation change a bit. You could say it was 4-2-3-1 again, but you could look, for me, it looked like at least a 4-2-2-2, if that even makes sense. Because what I saw is the two strikers at times, Lacazette and Aubameyang, two midfielders or so, or whatever. And then you see two other people, especially when we're shuffling side to side. And obviously, I'm holding it poorly, people, sorry. But I saw, like, pressing in a two. It was like that. Pardon me, but by that same logic, you could also say we out of possession. It was a 4. It was almost a 4 and then 5 and then 1, like, of sorts. Like, it's very interesting. It looked like we changed formation throughout the game a couple of times, and it's interesting trying to make sense of what we're trying to implement. But I did like the way we were pressing, for instance, and my columns just dropped. But I did like the way we were pressing and limiting options, to be fair, man. And I also liked how we played out the back today, to be fair with you. Obviously, I do think, if I'm being harsh, we could have created a bit more. I would have liked to have seen a bit more offensive from the offensive man, tiny bit more. But again, this is just me reaching. I can't really ask for too much more going into the game. The curtain raiser against Manchester City. That game will throw up what it's thrown up. Obviously, I'd like to win. By God's grace, we get a point. If we lose, few people expected us to win. Win, lose, or draw. We can't draw too many conclusions. Like I said, 10 games minimum before we see how this team kind of shapes up tactically. Again, that doesn't mean if we're getting destroyed 10 games, we must wait 10 games to say anything. But you get the point. 2-0. Obviously, we've been travelling a lot. The boys will probably have a rest and be back in training or Monday. So, yeah, man, all we can do is look to the weekend, look to next Sunday. I believe we commence against Manchester City. But for now, guys, deluded. Get in a comment, subscribe, and do the rest. Like I said, Arsenal 2, Lazio 0, and it is what it is. Oh, yeah, and at times, Torreira, Xhaka, Daisy, Holding, people were getting caught in possession a bit, enjoying themselves a bit too much on the ball. So there's a lot of old habits to kick out. But yeah, man, get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest. I'm out. Thank you for watching, people.